Wow, check out all these amazing mangoes. There's 9 of them. G'day, I'm Sam King from BensGarden, way up in the Whanisa North. And here are a range of mangoes that will grow in New Zealand. Yep, I know, because Ben's been growing some of these things for years. And a number of people have been able to grow mangoes in New Zealand too. It depends on the variety and how you go about it. But today's video is just about tasting. We've already got another video that talks about overall thing about growing mangoes in New Zealand, and the next video coming up is just about the suitability of these particular mangoes for growing in New Zealand. So if you want to learn about that and how and why they will grow in New Zealand, because there are some points that you might find quite interesting, because in some of the places where mangoes grow in India, not all of India is hot, and there are some places where people go around in the winter in puffer jackets, and in the same places they grow mangoes too. And so we've selected these mangoes for 2 main reasons. They grow well, they've got good levels of disease resistance, and they grow not only in the warm climates but also in the colder climates too. And some of them we've had success with already. But anyway, this video here is just about tasting, so I'm going to get right into it. And Ben's not here. You've noticed this thing here is called BensGarden. Way up here in the Whanisa North, we've got a thing called BensGarden, and I don't know if you've noticed about the lighting. This is in the middle of the night, it's dark. We wanted to film this during the afternoon, but the sound went funny. Ben is sleeping, getting ready, because he's got a whole lot more mangoes to eat tomorrow, getting the seed ready for planting. And all of these mangoes that I'm about to taste, you'll be able to order them, pre-order them, so that they'll be ready, available for you this summer to plant. So let's get into it. Which one first? Now, the first thing I've got to do, I think I need to clear this table, because I can smell all of these mangoes just coming right at me, and I think the smell of each is sort of mixing together, and I'm getting an overall mango smell coming through. And I think that's going to affect, like if I taste this one, the smell of these ones are going to come through, and it's not going to be an accurate tasting. So I'm going to get rid of things, and I'm going to taste things in alphabetical order. Oh, I hope I get the alphabet right, otherwise that'd be a big failure. And I've got some water here and crackers, because that just cleans the palate in between each one. We'll do this properly. And I had a look, it's been a while since I've done any formal tasting, and so I had a look at the kind of words commonly used for assessing flavours of mangoes, like some of these words here. And there are different profiles for flavours too. So anyway, well, let's just start tasting them, and you'll be able to dribble while I taste and see how good they taste. So let me just clear the table and reset things. We're going to start with the first one, the Alfonso. Oh, but first, did you see Country Calendar just this week, last Sunday? Wasn't that amazing? Our good friends Sarah and Andrew have been, they're great people, aren't they? And I just thought that was a really amazing episode. So if you haven't seen it, go to, what is it, On Demand, and you'll be able to see its episode. What's his name? I'll put it up here. By the way, we supply mango, so far we've supplied mango, Kesar mango to them, and we supply quite a few papayas each year as well. So that's really good. We've been proud to be a part of what they're doing. We do supply quite a few mangoes and papaya to their thing, and but they are a lot better than us at growing them and turning them into fruit. Our specialty is producing really strong plants and trees to start off with, and we provide those to commercial growers and also to people for their gardens, or what's the thing now, fruit jungle, food forest, that sort of thing. So if you want to order any of these, make sure you see at the end where you can do that. We've got a system this year where you can put your name down, otherwise it's quite likely that you miss out. For some of these, they're going to be limited amounts available, and we don't know how many people are going to buy how much of each. So put your name down to make sure that you can reserve your mango, the ones that you prefer. Also, we've got the Brix meter here, so we can test the sweetness, sugar level, not just using words like sweet, really, really sweet, and very sweet. A Brix meter will tell you exactly, specifically how sweet they are. Alright, so I'm just going to set this up ready for the first one, which is going to be the Alfonso. Alright, so we're ready to go. So this is the Alfonso. It's a slightly smaller kind of a mango. I guess the size of fruit will range a bit, depending on where it's grown, how it's grown, and the seasonal conditions. We're going to start with the Alfonso, which a lot of people name as the king of mangoes. There are some others that other people call the king of mangoes, but I think this is the most common one. It's known as one of the sweetest mangoes. By the way, this is the test sheet that I've got. So I'm looking at these different criteria here. We'll go through each one and see how we go for time. We might have to just sort of speed some of them through. Anyway, so this is quite a goldy, orangey mango, quite an intense colour. And they're very ripe now. This one here is almost overripe. So it's a deep golden colour, sometimes with a bit of a red or a saffron type of tinge to it. And let's just open it up. And we're not going to worry about the fanciest ways of cutting things today, because we've got to speed things up. Oh, that's a very rich mango smell, quite floral, and they're very intense, quite sweet. So let's have a bit of a taste of that. How am I going to do it? I'm not going to do it any of the fancy ways. I'm just going to go like that. Some ways it's similar to the Kesar mango, but I think a bit more sweeter and a bit more full of flavour, but quite similar though. And yeah. By the way, if you go into Indian shops and you see those tins of mango pulp, most of the time it's Kesar mango, sometimes it's from the Alfonso, and that's because they are the two most widely grown ones and known for being sweet. And when people buy the tinned mango pulp, they tend to like the sweet because it's they're making it into sweets or desserts or all kinds of things, and it means that they can get that full mango flavour without having to add any sugar or anything. So and they don't have to add any chemicals, it's just as it is. But absolutely beautiful. And I'm going to open up one. This one, especially near this end, is a little bit firmer, and I'm going to see if I can get a little bit. Sometimes in a mango you get that sort of zang, that like a turpentine type of flavour, like a resinous, a bit like what you get from like a gum or that type of thing. I don't know if you've ever tasted juniper berries, which is like an extreme version of that kind of resinous thing. So that has a slight bit more tang to it. But overall, it's a very sweet mango. Very smooth, very soft. It's like a nectar. So it melts in your mouth very easy, and it's very creamy as well. So it's got a creamy consistency. Very smooth. Tropical mango creamy nectar. That's what I'm going to call it. Even though that is a very ripe mango, even almost in another half of the day it will be overripe, it's still nice and firm, firm to cut, see that? So you could easily cut it into those nice cubes or something for a mango salad, but then as soon as it goes into the mouth, it melts, nice and buttery sort of a texture. So there it is. I better put this away ready for the next one, unless there's some kind of technology, maybe you'll be able to reach through the screen and grab one of these. Good idea anyway. Well, that didn't work. So anyway, I better keep this lot for Ben. Well, actually, he's got loads and loads more of these. But still though, there's going to be limited amounts of Alfonso. So if you want to put your name down for it, so you can have one in the summer, put your name down quick. What's the next one going to be? Let's go for it. So that's the chart for Alfonso. I'll show it up there. So now we've got the Bunganapelli, and I'm sure I've said it wrong. I'm sorry about that. I've cut the top off there. I'll cut the side too, so you can hear that being cut. This is a slightly smaller one, but gee, they are a big mango compared to others. And you can even see from an angle, they're quite fibrous compared with all of these other ones. But they're not an extremely fibrous mango. Now when I say fibrous, you know, you often hear about people talking about fibre in your diet, and often it's like bananas. They say bananas got fibre and apples got lots of fibre, and it's sort of like not a real fibrous thing, it's something else. But when people are talking about fibrous mangoes, they mean it quite literally. And some mangoes, particularly some of the South American ones, they're so fibrous that it's actually quite annoying. But the Bunganapelli is a little bit fibrous, and that's a good thing. You can get a nice sort of texture as you eat it, but it doesn't go really, really stringy. It also helps to keep the flesh together. So if you're cutting special shapes, cubes, whatever fancy shapes, it's likely to hold together into that shape. I'm just going to cut a bit of this off, and like that. This is very light and very juicy. It's not as creamy as the others, but it's nice. They don't have to all be creamy or buttery. Very refreshing. It's more of a mild sweetness, and some people might not like those super sweet mangoes. A little bit like a mild banana-y kind of flavour to it. Not a strong banana. A little bit banana-like, mild and clean sort of flavour. And not over sweet, which some people will like. You'll hear more about the zones of where they grow. This one is more of a southern one. Out of all of the mangoes that we've got, this one would be probably the most challenging to grow, but certainly people are growing them in New Zealand. And I know Aotearoa Grown have got some of them in their greenhouses, and you know, they've had some nice fruit out of them. So certainly if you'd like a mango that, I'll fill this sheet out, that meets that sort of profile, then go for it. And it's an impressive size too, if you can get them to grow that size yourself. But yeah, what can I say, out of all the different mangoes that are out there, that's definitely one of them anyway. That's huge, that's impressive. That'd be like nearly the size of my face, if I had a smaller face. But anyway, so would you like this, anyone? You just can't trust those guys. They're into everything. Well, sorry, I better leave this one for Ben, because actually we don't have too many of these. Bunganapelli is for, you'd really want to have that inside a greenhouse unless you've got a very warm spot. If you want some, better get in quick. Hello, dog. Did you hear that? That's the dog under the table, hoping for some mango. I don't think so. For the one I've been waiting for, Chaucer. In some areas, it's definitely known as the king of mangoes. they are pretty special. So we're going to have one right now. What's that? Hang on a second. What's that? No chowser. I thought we had one here. Looks like we're going to have to wait another couple of weeks for chowser because they're slightly later in the season. So we might have to make a special video just for the chowser. Some people also call it the chouncer with an N in it. But I guess just about all of these mangoes, they all have slightly different names or whatever, different nicknames and that too. Different dialects of Indian language, I guess. So, right, well, what's next on the list then? It'll be dashiri. Oh, and this is a beautiful one. In this one here, we've got to do the sniff test as well because, so look at that. Now, when I first got these, I've had these for a few days now because I should have done the video a few days ago. But you can see the green starting to disappear. But normally these would still be, you know, like starting off ripe when they're still got more tinges of green on it, and they'd still be okay to eat. But let's get right into it. Look at that. It's got a quite fragrant, like a perfume, kind of fragrant thing going on. Yeah, that's like, I'm trying to think of, it's been a long time since I've had something that's natural, that has like a fragrant, like floral, like perfume type of smell that goes with the flavour. You know, like those smoker lollies that they didn't look like smokes, but they call them smoker lollies, like little wee pink things, and they had a little bit like this. Not really, but that kind of idea. Now you look through there and it looks like it's a little bit fibrous, but all of that just melts in your mouth immediately. No sort of residual stringy bits left on your tongue. Very refreshing, sort of like a sometimes you get like a honey, like a fragrant honey, like some of those honeys that you get from the South Island. It's very hard to describe this, but it certainly has a very light honey kind of flavour coming through it. And if you tasted one of those, you would definitely taste a difference between this and just about any mango, I think. I'll be surprised if there's another mango I'm yet to try today that will be like this one. So that's the dashiri. If you grew some of those, you would never be disappointed. And if you grew them to sell the fruit, yeah, people would come back for that. And wow, it's like, you know, if it's like if somebody thought of a brilliant idea to take a sweet mango and then add some other fragrant flavours to it to turn it into a special kind of confectionery, lolly, sweet, desserty kind of thing, they'd come up with this, but it's like that already. It extends, you know, the idea of a mango flavour into something else, really. Dashiri, if you can get your hands on dashiri mango, do it. Wow. I don't know about that. So, what do you reckon? Can't trust those guys for a second. Well, there's two left there. We better leave both of those for Ben, and seeds going into trees. They should be ready around about December. We've got a number of other seeds, but you've got to be quick to get in to have a plant of one of these. And in the next video you will see, you'll be able to compare the latitude that they are grown in and the altitude and see how that compares with parts of New Zealand. But certainly these will grow in New Zealand. Now we've got the himiat. I'm probably saying that wrong, but wow, that's quite a substantial mango and quite dense too, because there's a bit of weight in that. Like that whole thing, yellow with a definite tinge of green. These are, through this part here, a golden yellow, still some tinges of green through there, but these are probably ripe to slightly, no, these will be ripe. I wouldn't call it overripe. The smell is a little bit mild, but quite floral. This is a bit different. I'm trying to think of what I can taste in there. Like a honey kind of flavour, but not the same as that other honey, like the dashiri. More towards honey, different flavour honey, like dog, stop scratching yourself. Or is it Ben? Yeah, like a lychee or longan flavour in with it. Yeah, this is different than a normal mango, like different from those cheap ones you get, you know, the South American ones and that, and but even way different from like the Australian ones that you see. I've got to have some more of that. So there's definitely like a floral, and it's ultra creamy, like an ultra mango creamy longan lychee flavour. A nice big fruit, and you can make something really amazing with that. But you know, quite often people think of what can you make with that fruit. Well, you don't have to make anything, it's made already. It would take a genius to take a normal mango and add all kinds of things to it to make it taste like this, because that's what you've got. You see if you can get your hands on one of those and see if you can sort of pick out of it like a honey lychee kind of flavour. Shush, dog. I'm going to have to get the dog out of here. It's making a racket. It's a bit sick. It's got to go to the vet on Friday. Costing us some more money. The texture, there is no scouring. I can see there is fibre in there, but there's no layering of that cutting in with the fibre. It's actually quite silky. Is there a part of this that's a bit more greener? Just to try and pick out. That one's a bit harder through there. Just to see if I can pick out if there's any tanginess in it when it's not ultra ripe. No, it's just different. Wow. This part here, yeah, there's a certain amount of tanginess and a slight amount of acidity, but it's, man, this is just it's a different flavour again. I wouldn't know how to begin describing this. Wow. If you can get yourself on some himiat, go for it. but to plant some in your greenhouse, it'll be worth, if you have space in your backyard and you can put up a greenhouse, then go for it. But don't put up one of those rubbishy aluminium things. Watch our other videos, these DIY videos where you can just go down the road and buy timber, work with our plans, free plans, put it all up. We've got the plastics to supply you so that you get high diffusion plastic, so that it has all kinds of benefits for growing, strong, and lets the light in and all the rest of it, good thermal qualities. But also we've got systems that are very inexpensive to run that control your greenhouse, because if you have, well, doesn't matter whether you've got glass, polycarbonate or plastic, and this will apply to if you already have a greenhouse, those things convert light into heat, like ultra heat, and on a very bright day the temperature can go right through the roof, literally. And even if you've got, some of them have got windows and vents and stuff like that, that is usually not enough, especially on a day where there's not much wind happening. Even if you've got the doors and things open, you can easily get right into the 40s. If you've forgotten to open the windows and doors, then for that day, or some days, you know, you're 52 degrees or more. And that's just crazy. That'll kill a lot of plants. And so we've got some of these fans and vents that work together, really cheap to run. On a super hot day, it might only cost, for the fan, it might cost 15 cents, 25 cents. And the vent only costs half a cent a day to run. And yeah, just the benefits that you get from being able to have controlled temperature, because when you go to the tropics, the biggest benefit that they have is they have, you know, like fairly controlled, moderate temperature that doesn't swing up and down all over the place. And that's what happens, you get temperature swings when you've got whatever weather's outside, and the light, and that light, when that light comes out, the temperature goes through the roof, and sometimes too much. So it's good to be able to control it. And so watch our other videos to find out how cheap it would be to fix up your greenhouse so that it has a controlled temperature like our ones do, and all of that. Come on, stop raving on. The next, oh, I'd love to just sit here and eat the whole lot. But no. Oh, actually, no. In normal fashion, who's up for this one? Anyone? You guys are so greedy. Why don't you leave some for these people out here? Oh, I'm disappointed. But anyway, better leave these for Ben, and the seeds are going in. We've got lots more, but still, him yet. You really got to put your name down if you want one of those, because Now the next one is the Kesar mango. Did I mention before that most of the time, like if you go into an Indian shop and you see those pulp tins of pulp, almost all of the time, that's Kesar mangoes, and they are just great. And but they were a little bit early this season, and we've just had hundreds of them. Ben's eaten hundreds of the things, and we put the flesh and we pulped it up, actually, this lot, into the freezer, and we got this lot out here. So actually I've got some footage earlier of us tasting last year's lot of Kesar mangoes, so I'll flick over to that. Ben's not in his best Hawaiian shirt today, but we're going to let him eat some anyway. Check it out, Ben.
Yep, that's as sweet as they get. And they're really tasty. It's got a, yeah, slightly pineapple-y and all sorts of things in that. They've been ripening just about as far as you'd want to ripen them.
Yeah, 5 minutes later it'll be overripe. It's probably got a hint of mango in it as well, eh?
I did detect a bit of that.
The Kesar mango is a very orangey, deep orange mango with a bit of a saffron blush to it. It's quite similar in size and shape to the Alfonso, but a little bit bigger. Well, in my experience so far anyway. Not so much in the tin, but you know, when you're eating them fresh, they have, you know, like a spicy floral, maybe a little bit of saffron or cardamom type of thing. But in the main, just a good all-round sweet mango flavour, really nice. A little bit spicy, but they do have a little bit of that tang, and some people don't recognise a mango as a mango unless it has, you know, a bit of that tanginess to it. And out of the sweeter mangoes, that does have a bit more tang than some of the others. So, you know, I like it because of that. And you can't go wrong with growing Kesar mangoes in New Zealand. In our experience so far, we've found them to be quite disease resistant and cold tolerant. We've had them growing on banks where they've been quite exposed, but we've grown a few things around them to help with shelter a bit. But look at our video on growing in that, and the next video. Super ripe. That's enough about Kesar. The texture is quite creamy. The cedar is fairly small, but for the size of it, I'd say medium. But a good all-round mango and a great one to grow, and you know, one of the best ones for eating out there. That was it. Now we're in for a real treat. This is one of the ones I tried some of these just the other day. Really nice, and these are starting to get a bit overripe. Starting to get a little bit of that. Any mango can get that when it gets too far gone. But some mangoes of inferior varieties can start to get that black early, even before they're ripe, which is no good. But these are good mangoes. So this one here, it's not overripe. I'm going to try that, and looks like we've got some good ripe through here, and a little bit of slightly, you know, firmer through there. So we'll get a good good flavour range. The Langra are often known as green when they're ripe, and I guess these ones are starting to get a bit overripe, but it's not unusual for them to be green and still be ripe. You'll know by the feel of it and cutting into it and eating it. So let's try this out. Now this one here, it certainly has a bit more of that resinous aroma that you get from some mango. Some people call it like a turpentine type of flavour, not like terps, but you know, like a gum tree type of thing, or like a you know, what they make gin out of, what's those juniper berries, but you know, in a milder version of it. I don't know if any of you have tried kahikatea berries. If you get kahikatea berries, and you'll see the tui's just absolutely going for them. Sometimes they're more turpentine than others. Some seasons they'll be very, you know, I think once every 6 years they have a, you know, like the fruit are a lot bigger and everything. And but anyway, it's sort of like towards that kind of flavour, that kind of resinous thing, but slightly earthy, a little bit limey. This is definitely different than all of those other mangoes, and it's probably sweeter than some varieties, but nowhere near as sweet as all of the others that I've tried so far. It might be similar in sweetness to the Bungnapelli. Excuse my pronunciation. I'm going to try one of these other ones that could be a bit more ripe. There's a slightly like a herbal notes coming through. That one is different. I don't know if I'd call it my favourite, but that doesn't matter. You know, I go for more of the some of the sweeter, honey kind of flavour ones, and some people wouldn't. like those as much as I do, but certainly a very nice, mango, and a beautiful flavour, and ripe when green, usually. So that's a nice one, and we'll do the bricks test on it. What will it be? 17, 18, guessing, or 16? Don't know. Wow, now this is the Malika, and it's, I mean, just look at it. It's a beautiful looking mango. Just the colour and the shape, you know, like that bird's head type of thing. Sort of quite oblong and a decent size, and this one's verging on overripe. No, I call that ripe. It's not overripe, but you can still feel a certain amount of firmness through that. Some people, this is their absolute favourite. So let's hook into it. I have tasted this one. I remember that it was a nice one, but I can't remember how and why. So let's get into it. Mango. I can smell the mango. It's quite fruity with a slightly like a melon or something. Let's see what it's like to taste. That is nice and smooth. I'm going to texture first, but that's the first thing I know. It's very smooth, but it's not like really creamy and buttery. It's like quite refreshing. Like it melts and then clears off the palate. Mango. You can definitely taste like a honey flavour there, but more of a like a zesty thing. It's not like a lingering over sweet thing. It's quite fresh and refreshing, quite like a citrus zest or something like that. But yep, I'd go for that one. That is really nice. Different to other mangoes, and I think you could eat a good volume of that because it sort of doesn't linger and like overfill you kind of thing. It would be a good appetizer or something to have in between dishes, like if you had an entree that was quite slightly heavier and then you had you wanted to clear that before having another substantial like a mains dish. This would be a really nice one to have in between. That's amazing. Well, in the usual way, who wants this? Oh, come on! Every time. Boy, they're getting quick. You'll have to be quicker next time. Once I stick one up there for you to get, reach your hand through the TV and go for it. Otherwise, you'll come off second best. So that was the Malika, and I wouldn't call that my favourite, but I'd call it my almost favourite. I really like it. I like it a lot. Yeah. Yep. Doesn't have to be anything else. It is what it is. That's a beautiful mango. Malika. Wow. That's huge. But definitely ripe. I don't know which one. I think this one might be slightly riper, even though this one is more yellow. But I'm going to cut this one open anyway. But this is huge. I should have weighed it. Oh, the colour first. Well, this one's quite green. That one a yellow. But they're typically yellow with a bit of a red blush through them usually. But it is what it is. So that's this one here is yellow. Quite a bit of green tinge through it. Ooh, that is a very fresh kind of slightly green, pineapple-y. Am I getting that? Yep, it's quite appley, pineapple-y, quite fresh, sort of fragrance to it. You can look at like this and you can see it's quite fibrous but very fine fibres. And let's just check out the tasting. I know there's all sorts of fancy ways you can cut them, but we're not going to get all silly today. That is very refreshing. That is different to all of the other mangoes. That is like, it's like having a pineapple drink. A pineapple and mango drink. It's not like very creamy and buttery like some of them. It definitely isn't that, but it's very refreshing. It's very there's the blinking dog again. I'll just go and sort out the dog. I'll come back. Come on. Come on. Out here. Sorry, I have to keep on going away for the dog. It's acting a bit strange at the moment because it's a bit sick. But yeah, this mango, this is, yeah, like having a mango pineapple drink. Tone down the pineapple, not a bitey kind of a pineapple. Appley. Another one you could eat at any time of the day, but also like to have as an appetizer or a, you know, like to cleanse the palate, you know, in between a couple of, you know, dishes, especially if the first one might be a bit overpowering or something. Wow. I'd like a decent slab of that, you know, on the plate, on your dinner plate for any night of the week. That bite was a little bit slightly lemony, but no, more pineapple. Yep, I really like that. That's a nice one. So, so that's the raspberry. Decent, huge fruit. They're nice. So I'll put these up here. Oh, and here's a whole one. Are you ready? You got to be quick. That thing with the guts. Are you happy with yourself? Gee, can't take them anywhere.